She's paralyzed from the waist down, which is what caused her incontinence. And they didn't know at first what had happened, if it was something that she was born with or if some type of accident had happened. We finally got an MRI from a specialist who told us that it was an old fracture. We picked her up from the shelter when she was about a month old. And apparently the shelter had said they saw somebody, the person who brought her in saw a child pulling her out of a bush by her back legs or tail. She can't use her back legs at all, really. She gets around just fine. They told us, physical therapy isn't going to teach her to walk. The spine, was severed good, and it can't, it's not going to heal. But she's not in any pain. The shelter had a very small isolation room, and they could only put so many pets in there. The room was full at the time. They said because she has mobility issues and they have a full isolation room, that her life was at risk. So I went there to pick her up. And when I saw her, she was kind of a mess. She didn't have control over her bowels or bladder. And so we brought her home not knowing what the medical issue was. And I was very, very nervous. She said, you're going to have to express her bladder manually. And I was absolutely terrified, but she showed me how to do it. She said, a lot of people who have these cats or whose cats become incontinent, they euthanize because it is a lot of work. They get bladder infections and you have to manually express their bladder a couple times a day. We bought her a wheelchair. She hates it. She will not go anywhere near it. And so we decided, front paws are very, very strong. She is everything you would not expect in a cat who has a special need like she does. She is confident. She runs the house. The other cats, who all have some type of special need, but none have a special need exactly like hers, they listen to her. She also has a genetically linked anemia issue, and she actually almost died about 6 months, which has nothing to do with the paralysis. So about 6 months after we got her, she got really sick and needed a blood transfusion. She has a genetically linked anemia disorder that causes her own body to attack its red blood cells. She's on steroids, a small dose of steroids every day, which has thus far, knock on wood, kept her body from attacking its own blood cells. So she's doing great in that regard. We often also help express her bowels. She technically, if we let her go and didn't do anything, she would pee and poop on her own, but it would be all over the place. She's very bossy to the other cats. And so if there's food around, she will pop them on the head, be like, get out of my way, I'm gonna eat this first. Java and her sister Mocha were together, and they were both black cats. And so I went with the color thing, but I also went with the two things that I love the most, which are coffee and chocolate. Java is named after one of my favorite things in life.